These plain-looking metal shavings are worth approximately $11 a gram. Net, 30 grams. Precisely. $300 in a vial not much bigger than a matchbox. A composite sample for analysis. It represents a batch of 40 metal buttons. Each button weighs about 5,000 grams. Each batch, with a total weight of less than 500 pounds, $2 million. This is a precious metal, but $2 million will buy almost 2 tons of gold. This, on the other hand, is uranium. Isotopic content, 93.15% uranium-235, highly enriched, much more costly than gold. It is sampled, handled, used, and accounted for with extreme accuracy, gram by gram, or atom by atom, using a mass spectrometer that measures weight percent of uranium-235 to within only 1 part in 10,000. Think about it. A measurement inaccuracy of only 5/1,000ths in a $2 million batch becomes a discrepancy of $10,000. Today, uranium, plutonium, and other nuclear materials are an integral part of science, industry, and commerce. Costly atoms for many peaceful uses, but they are more. They are strategic materials. Unauthorized diversion of even minor quantities could cast a long and perilous shadow across all nations of the earth. As this young, dynamic, rewarding industry grows, it will eventually assume ownership of all commercial nuclear materials. It cannot risk small, cumulative, undetected losses along the way. The world today is a marketplace. Huge quantities and many forms of nuclear materials are produced. Expenditures are enormous. For example, after the cascade, enriched uranium hexafluoride may be put through still further processing. Dry chemistry produces uranium tetrafluoride, green salt. And further still, green salt converted to oxides, or uranium metal. A typical metal ingot, or button. Weight, 5 kilograms, 11 pounds. Value, $55,000. The uranium buttons will be alloyed, cast, rolled, and machined. These are expensive and strategic commodities. We safeguard this material in all of its forms. Each year, many tons of uranium hexafluoride flow through 3 gaseous diffusion plants in the United States alone. More than 50 separate plants process and fabricate fuel elements that will be put to work in more than 200 nuclear reactors for power, research, testing, and training. Other fuels go into AEC reactors that produce another fissionable material, plutonium, even more costly than enriched uranium. Commercial nuclear power plants throughout the nation produce plutonium as a byproduct, as they provide electricity for utilities. Plutonium is a toxic element and is handled with care throughout the process. It is important to both national defense and peaceful programs. On the subject of plutonium, Dr. Glenn T. Seaborg, chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission, at a meeting of the British Nuclear Energy Society in London in 1966.
The cumulative quantities of plutonium that would be produced by the year 1980 and the year 2000 are astonishing amounts indeed. This plutonium will be produced throughout the world by 1980, and if our projections are correct, at the rate of more than 100 kilograms a day. In other words, material will be produced over the face of the globe sufficient for the potential production of a substantial amount of the world's electrical power, or alternatively, sufficient for tens of nuclear weapons a day. In the light of this,
But here and now we know that to continue to develop nuclear power serves the best interest of all peoples of the world. We know, too, that we must manage our nuclear materials so that none is when they consume. Spent reactor fuel is processed to recover unused uranium and plutonium produced in fuel elements by transmutation. An intricate process with many steps that tend to complicate safeguards. Throughout the world, we find laboratories and facilities for research and development in nuclear technology. And there are the mines. The mines that feed the mills. And there are the refineries. Add them up. Within the borders of the United States alone, there are more than, and quantities will increase. Senator John O. Pastori, Chairman of the Joint Congressional Committee on Atomic Energy.
Since 1954, when we amended the basic law on atomic energy, the Joint Committee of the Congress on Atomic Energy has been very intensely interested in the development of the peaceful atom. By year 2000, the population of this country will double. By that time, 1/2 of the electrical energy in this country of ours will be produced by nuclear energy. Therefore, it behooves us to be very alert, to make sure that this strategic material that's used in these reactors for the production of this power is accounted for in order not only to ensure the security of our nation, but to make sure that all people who deal with it will be guaranteed their safety.
Health and safety be corrected, repairs made, material reclaimed. Labels identify, but they are accounting devices as well. Low enriched material, highly enriched, high-cost material. And there are thousands of containers, all properly labeled, to prevent accidental mixtures and degradation of materials. Instruments and equipment are subjected to regular maintenance and periodic calibration, so that recorded weights reflect accurately the contents of containers. Errors in calibration or imprecise measurement, errors in analysis, inadequate equipment or techniques, any of these may become large monetary losses. Economics is only one of a number of reasons for vigilance and accountability. There are others. Small but cumulative losses, all are economic problems. But beyond economy, there is a threat. If small quantities are lost, if they accumulate gram by gram, if they are diverted through unauthorized channels, most nations agree in other parts of the world. Wherever nuclear materials are handled and used, the world community must be certain that non-proliferation is a primary concern. The United States, from the beginning, our security. New, unusual atoms mined in the earth with a broad potential for peaceful use, a new challenge, and a newly created field for research and technology. Government and industry demands for greater quantities generated new supplies of nuclear materials. A new and different industry had begun, and its raw materials have since become abundant commodities in the marketplace. In 1954, the Atomic Energy Act was broadened. It now permitted private enterprise to participate in the development of peaceful uses of atomic energy. But materials were to remain in government ownership. Nuclear materials management is an ordinary part of business. But surrounded by unordinary circumstances, process complexity, unprecedented precision techniques, unique hazards. In these unordinary circumstances, greater than ordinary effort is needed. Ultimately, our goals are prosperity, safety and safeguards, security for the nation and its people. Nuclear materials management is important to these goals and to the future. And as the nuclear marketplace expands, science and technology will extend the horizons of progress beyond the promise of present knowledge. Life in the young and growing nuclear age will become richer and more meaningful in all parts of the world.